Alright boys and girls, in this video I'm going to teach you and walk you through how to multiply fractions. Let's get started. Let's say we're given the example of 1/2 times 5/8 or 5/8. What we want to do is multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. So 1 times 5 is 5 and 2 times 8 is 16. Now the only thing you have to worry about is making sure that what you end up with is in simplest form. We do that by making sure that the greatest common factor between the two numbers is 1. Basically, make sure that the biggest number that goes evenly into both the numerator and denominator is 1. And in our case here, it is, so we're done. This is simplest form. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. Let's say we have 3/5 times 5/9. Again, what we want to do is make sure we multiply across the top. Here we're going to end up with 15, and across the bottom we end up with 45. Now you should notice here that in this example there's a number greater than 1 that goes into both 15 and 45, that being 5. So we're going to go ahead and divide both the numerator and the denominator by 5, or the GCF. 15 divided by 5 equals 3, and 45 divided by 5 equals 9. Now, I purposely ran into this problem because, see, a lot of kids do this. They make this mistake of thinking that this is the greatest common factor, and then the problem like this one, where they notice that 5 goes into both, but it actually isn't. You'll notice that we ended up with 3 9s, and I'm seeing and noticing that I can still think of a number greater than 1 that goes into both 3 and 9. And in our case here, it is 3. So I would have to continue dividing both the numerator and the denominator by more numbers that are greater than 1 if I can think of it. And here we would end up with 1/3. This is our true simplest form answer. Now, in order to avoid making this mistake again, we can go ahead and do the prime factorization of both the numerator and the denominator. I'll do it real quick here. 3 times 5 gives me 15. Circle your prime numbers. 45 we can get by multiplying 5 times 9. 5 is prime, and 9 we can get by multiplying 3 and 3. Now we list the prime factorizations, one on top of the other in order from least to greatest. Here's the one for the second number, 45. And we find our pairs. Pairs meaning the number that appears in both lists. So 3 and 3 are a pair, and 5 and 5 are a pair. I cross off one of the list and multiply what's left circled. So 3 times 5 is 15. That means that my greatest common factor is going to be 15. That's the biggest number that goes evenly into 45 and 15. So what I should have done from the beginning was here, I should have gotten 15/45, and I should have divided both by 15. Then I would have ended up with my 1/3. So 15 is 1, and 45 divided by 15 is 3. So this is a faster way of making sure you reach your correct simplest form answer. All right, let's look at another example. Let's take a look at 3/8 times 2/5. All right, so we multiply across the top. 3 times 2 is 6. And we multiply across the bottom. We get 40. And again, think of the biggest number that goes evenly into the numerator and the denominator. And if you can't think of it, remember to do the prime factorization. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for this one as well. More practice. Make sure you circle your prime numbers. And then you list the prime factorizations one on top of the other in order from least to greatest. And then you find your pairs. This is a pair with that, and nothing else is a pair. So I cross it off, and since there's only one number there, my GCF, or the greatest common factor, the biggest number that goes into both 6 and 40, is going to be 2. So I divide both the top and the bottom by 2. Let me do that in a different color. And I end up with my answer. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So there you have it. This is my simplest form answer. Let me take a look at one more example. This time I'm going to go ahead and multiply a fraction. Let's say I'm going to use 4/6. And I'm going to multiply by a whole number. Let's say 8. Well, we can't multiply a fraction by a whole number unless we turn that whole number into a fraction. So what we want to do is remember that every whole number has an invisible 1 underneath. That's a very simple way of turning it into a fraction. So we can rewrite this problem as 4/6 times 8 over 1. Again, now we just follow the same process as before. We multiply across the top. 4 times 8 is 32. Multiply across the bottom. 6 times 1 is 6. And we simplify. Here we end up with an improper fraction, so we have to turn it into a mixed number. You can do that very easily by doing exactly what this says right here. 32 divided by 6. 6 goes into 32. 5 times 6 times 5 is 30. We subtract, we end up with 2. Now, I'm going to do this in different colors. Our quotient becomes our whole number part of our answer. Our remainder becomes our numerator. And, I'm trying to do this in different colors, our divisor becomes our denominator. Now, the only thing we have to be careful here with is making sure that the whole thing is in simplest form. So if you can think of a number greater than 1 that goes into both 2 and 6, we have to simplify. And I can think of a number greater than 1, and that is going to be 2. So we divide the top and the bottom by the greatest common factor, and we end up with an answer of, don't forget your whole number, 5, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this is our answer for this problem. All right, boys and girls, that was multiplying fractions and multiplying fractions by a whole number. If you need more help, make sure you check out our website at www.mr.nestynunez.com.